This is Weighing In with Travis Hartman, possibly the most important podcast you'll hear ever in your life, ever.
I just want to tell you that this was me last night in my kitchen. I was doing jumping jacks and took a video. That's actually a video.
Welcome to another episode of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. I'm Brandon Waters. That's Travis Hartman. It's really your one-stop shop for talking boxing, sports, life, whatever comes to mind. Really the most important podcast you may ever watch and listen to ever in your life. Ever. Travis.
Ever.
All right. Well, welcome back. This one is brought to you by Hato Suzaki. Is that correct? I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but once again, we talk boxing, sports, life, drink some whiskey, have a good time, and hopefully entertain whoever might be listening to this.
We weigh in on all topics.
We're weighing in right now. So, Travis, what are we weighing in on today?
There's the boxing world right now, and it's just something I feel compelled to talk about. It's there's a heavyweight right now. His name's Gerald Big Baby Miller. He's an American heavyweight. There's really high hopes for this guy. This guy was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Garden. Anthony Joshua was a heavyweight champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Gerald Big Baby Miller, like about 11 days before the fight, he tested positive for steroids. Like, it was a bunch. It was like 6 different steroids. It wasn't even just like one. It was like a 6 different one. So it was a lot. So the fill-in was Andy Ruiz, who ended up upsetting Anthony Joshua. And Andy Ruiz was the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion of the world. So
Viva Mexico.
Yeah, Viva Mexico, Viva Ruiz.
Yeah.
So he won and upset Joshua. They rematched, and Joshua beat him, of course. But back to Gerald Big Baby Miller, he just tested positive again. This was supposed to be his first fight back from the suspension, from all of that. He was going to fight July 9th, I believe it was, on ESPN against a man by the name of Forrest, which was kind of a setup fight for him to win, I believe. Mm-hmm. He just tested positive again.
Okay.
This guy's an undefeated heavyweight champion. Not heavyweight champion, undefeated. Was getting ready to challenge for a heavyweight championship of the world, and he tested positive. He missed out on like I can't remember. It was between $5 and $10 million payday.
It's a lot of change.
Can you imagine that?
No, I can't. So, Travis, let me ask you. You being a professional fighter, me being the somewhat novice watching that sort of thing. You see someone get busted not once but now twice. There's probably a variety of reasons why. I'm not sure. Is he stepping up in weight class? Is he trying to? Was that kind of the?
He's like 265.
Okay, so that's not the reason why. And then obviously the reasons haven't come out yet as to why he got busted this second time. So from your opinion and from what you've seen, what's the deal? Why do we see fighters doing this? We can talk about other sports in a few minutes about that, but let's just stay specific to boxing. Why are we seeing that here and there in the fight game?
You know, I genuinely believe that it's like we're seeing it more now just because I think we're testing more. That's why. Do I think it was rampant in boxing a long time ago? Yes. But we weren't testing that much. We were testing they were doing it. Victor Conti is who I kind of lean on for a lot of my steroid and testing information. And because he's a former guy who was caught up in the whole Balco stuff, and he turned good guy. Now he's working for the other side, trying to point out people that are doing stuff. Mm-hmm. So I kind of turned to him for a lot of my information, and we're testing. These guys are testing positive now more because we're testing better. Because they used to do urine testing, and Victor Conti was like, a urine test is the easiest test to beat, period. He goes, because they know when it's going to be. It's pre-fight and post-fight.
Sure.
He goes, you can literally take your dosage down so much to nil to nothing when you know when the test is going to be, and you can test negative even though you've been positive doing steroids forever. So I think the reason why we're seeing more positive tests is because they're doing blood tests and they're doing random testing.
Okay.
Which is phenomenal. There's I think it's VADA. It is VADA. The WBC is requiring all of its top 15 guys in the world to have a ranking by the WBC. You have to enroll in 12-month random blood testing. So if they want to come to your door, they give you I think you have 4 hours notice or 2 hours. It's something like that, but it's really good because they're randomly stopping in on guys. Like before a fight, sometimes they'll test them 4 or 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out.
So then you got to wonder then, if that's really the case, if you're seeing that's the kind of the new way of randomized drug testing, things like that, which some MMA fighters that I do know, they do the same stuff, right? It's random testing for a certain period of time leading up to a fight, whatever else. If as a fighter, that's the way it works. How then are we seeing this once again? Same person, same individual, and this isn't just to blast one individual, but how are we getting caught up again with the same story, the same person?
There's a lot of things that go along with the combat sports, and when you're in a singular sport, you're very egotistical. You have to be. Some of the best athletes in the world in MMA or boxing, they're egotistical. You have to be. It's only you in there, but your ego has to be in check. So the great ones put their ego in check for the most part, and they can be great and have a team around them. But I just think sometimes these guys they think they're invincible. They're invincible to the laws. They're invincible to everything. And Gerald Big Baby Miller's promoter was Top Rank, which is Bob Arum. And maybe he just thought Bob Arum was going to clean it up for him, or maybe they're going to turn the other way because he's supposed to be, and he was highly regarded. He was supposed to be the next coming of the heavyweight division in America. Gerald Big Baby, he's undefeated. He's still undefeated because he hasn't fought in a couple of years now.
What was his first suspension? When he got busted the first time.
Well, how long was it?
Yeah, how long was it?
I believe it was 6 months to a year. It wasn't actually a lot. It should have been a lot more. I think he got off with kind of like a little bit of a slap on the hand, and he missed out on like a $5 million payday. So that was kind of also a punishment as well.
Right. So what do you think? What are they going to hand down? Do you think on this one, or do you have an opinion on that?
I have an opinion. I've been a professional boxer for over 16 years now. I've never even hinted at taking an illegal substance ever in my entire life. So I'm a firm believer of once should never happen for one. 2 times, I think you're gone. In my opinion, you're gone. Why would you and especially back to back? I'm sorry, Gerald Big Baby. I'm sure he's a good guy because I know a lot of people that know him and they say he's a good guy. You're an idiot. And you're defying a game that I love and a lot of other people love, and you recklessly are testing positive twice.
Okay, so
not once but twice.
So you bring up some interesting items there. Okay, take the sport of boxing. Let's not talk about other sports yet when it comes to this sort of thing. When you look at a boxing one-on-one sport, right? It's just you and the other man, or if you're female, woman and woman. So with that sport, when it comes to that sort of combat, why is it that, I don't know, let me play devil's advocate, I guess. Why shouldn't all guys...
Tell me how you really feel, Brandon.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to tell you really how I feel, but I'll play devil's advocate. Might be the right, I don't know. Why not just let it open? Why not just say, you know what, guys, do what you're going to do. Put your own bodies at risk. Okay, that's not on us, as whoever are the governing agencies of this. But if you're going to do that, fine. But it's an open playing field. Everyone else can do it too. What's your take on that, specific to combat sports, specific to a boxing and like an MMA, that sort of thing?
I kind of figured you were going to bring that up for sure, and people have really said that about baseball as well. Like baseball, they're like, well, these guys have been doing it for so long. I feel like baseball knew that they were doing it.
Oh,
but the ratings were through the roof.
100% they do.
Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Nobody wanted to ruin that parade because I was even tuning in. I think the whole world was tuning into that home run race.
Oh, heck yeah.
But everybody at the same time, how did they not know they were doing steroids? Like, give me a break. So, in regards to, well, go ahead and make it even playing field, let everybody do it. Well, here's why you couldn't, because there's multiple reasons that I disagree with that. I don't think everybody should do it. There's multiple reasons, though. One reason is, if you're doing the designer steroids, it's not cheap. So when you have that playing field, it's not a level playing field because boxing is a poor man's sport. There's a lot of guys just coming up. They can't afford that. So what's going to happen is the top guys, they're going to stay on top because they're doing it. The bottom guys that are coming up, they're not going to get a chance to because, for one, they can't afford it. And the other guys are going to be affording it. They're going to be doing steroids. They're not going to be able to. So it's tough to beat a guy on steroids. However, it's happened before. Oscar De La Hoya beat Fernando Vargas, and Fernando Vargas tested positive for steroids. So it's not out of this world that just because a guy's on steroids, he's automatically going to win. That's not the case at all. You still got to be good. You still got to be talented, all that stuff. But my second point is, it's a combat sport. You're talking about people's health. And I've been a boxer for 16 years, and, knock on wood, thank God nothing's ever major happened to me. But you talk about putting in steroids and making it a level playing field. man, you're going to talk about some people getting hurt. Like, some people are going to get seriously, and they already get seriously hurt. So that's where I would say no. I mean, I don't think so. And
now, are you talking the
we
opponent?
don't have long-term effects either of us.
I was going to say, so are you talking the opponent getting hurt, or are you talking the actual person doing?
Both, I think.
Okay, yeah.
The steroids and the opponent.
Yeah.
Or both. If they both are doing it, they're both putting their life at risk because now they're going to be bigger, faster, stronger. Mm-hmm. Also, what do we know of the effect? We don't know long-term effects of the new designer steroids. We know, like the old steroids, what they were doing to people. They were terrible. But scientists and these chemists are evil geniuses because
Absolutely.
the new designer steroids, you see a lot of these guys have been taking them for a very long time, and you're not seeing too many effects. But we're still early. I mean, a lot of these guys, you don't show effects when you take illegal substances for years, 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe it affects them 20 years down the road. Like football with CTE, like you don't know. You don't know if it's going to affect you right now or later, 10 years, 5 years, 20 years. You don't know, but it's having an effect. So
yeah, you're seeing guys that have effects really within a couple of years, not even long term.
Yep.
And kudos to a lot of these athletes that actually, you see a lot of NFL players that have been retiring early because they actually weigh those risks. They realize that their bodies and their livelihood, it's not worth it when the day's said and done, when they actually look at their family, what they built up from, their own finances, things like that, to be able to walk away and say, you know what, I love this game, but I don't love it enough to get, put my actual life on the line. And so I don't know if you see that in the boxing realm as well. That was just me playing devil's advocate. I don't condone it at all. But I do remember back in high school watching that home run race, thinking, "Holy moly, this is pretty sweet."
It was phenomenal.
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire.
I was a fan of baseball again. I'm like, I love this. Like, where'd that go? Like and then it fell off. Now all of a sudden you see these home runs guys. Guys are getting 40 home runs a year now.
Boring.
But they're like this all-star now. If you're getting 40 home runs a year, an all-star. Yeah, those guys were getting 70.
They're flipping bats and things like that.
Give me a break. 70.
So what do you think about the asterisk? Like, people want to talk about records and Hall of Fame stuff. Do you believe in like someone like Barry Bonds? They got to put an asterisk next to his name.
Well, this is why that's a very good topic for sure. But this is why I don't think I believe in asterisks, because as we found out, allegedly Roger Clemens was doing it. He's a pitcher. Mm-hmm. Allegedly, I don't know. Like, I think that's even still going on. Possibly, like, he was going to court for a while. So I don't even know that details yet. But I think that a lot of the pitchers were doing it as well as the hitters. But also, I watched this study, and I'm not okaying steroids in baseball at all, but I watched this scientist get together and did a study, and they were saying that they don't believe that steroids gives them that much more of an advantage in baseball by hitting home runs. They're like, it's all about timing and bat speed and all that stuff that's going to hit home. Not raw power. It's actually timing and bat speed.
Okay, so when it comes to steroids, and as you can tell, I don't take steroids because I'm tiny. You obviously,
so am I.
You might, I don't know, flex with this arm. I don't know if they could see you. Okay, there we go.
All of 160 pounds, guys.
Any person I know, not necessarily athletes, but also just individuals, the meatheads, or you want to call them in the gym, whatever else. I personally don't care on your own personal time. If you're not a professional athlete, you want to put your body at risk or your long-term health, that's your call. That's your own prerogative. Not my call to make judgment, right? But
I mean, illegal is illegal. It's not only is it illegal for sports, it's illegal in life. The average person is illegal for them to do steroids as
You have plucked my character heartstrings on that. Okay. But either way, so those guys that do those sorts of things, it's not like all of a sudden you put a needle in your body and you're massively strong and good to go. Yep. You have to put the work in.
That's what people don't realize.
You have to do the lifting. If you're in this sport, you have to still work on your timing of things, whatever else. So it's not all of a sudden, boom, shut up, I'm now, all-star. No, there's still work to be had.
Yeah.
Does it make the work a little easier? Maybe. Or at least
it helps you not get as tired as fast, and you can work harder and faster in training, which will make you better, obviously, eventually. So you still put the work in. You can't just be a
Someone once said it also shrinks your,
I wouldn't know that.
Oh, well, I don't take steroids either.
I mean, clearly, if I was doing this episode naked, you would tell that I've not done steroids.
We're not going to show the people at home. We're not showing the people at home your last night. Right? We're not doing that.
Guys, I did. I'll have to admit, I'm not a big drinker, but I did have some fun last night with some really good friends.
I'm gonna pause you right there. I love how you said you're not a big drinker, yet so far as we're doing this podcast, it's really us drinking and talking.
I'm on my second one already.
For like 45 minutes. Okay. But keep going. We're not big drinkers. No,
we're not, which I'm a lightweight, but I had some drinks last night. had a little fun. My fiance, some friends that we have here in Orlando, came home, and it was just silly. That was just silly. I may or may not have did jumping jacks in my kitchen naked. I don't know. I'm neither confirming nor denying that. Even though you didn't accuse me. But
I'm not accusing of any. Listen, we've all been there. No, I don't think I've ever been there. But what I will say is that you're marrying a great woman, for many reasons, but also the fact that she will put up with that and take photos of it is awesome.
Video.
I don't want to see the video. It's what angle are we talking? Are we talking
backside?
Okay,
backside,
okay.
Backside.
Well, okay. Either way, to each their own. That's just not my own. Who
automatically thinks to pull out the camera when your fiance is naked in the kitchen? I mean, that was her first instinct. I'm a little worried about that.
No.
Is that blackmail for later? Is she when I run for congressional seats for the United States government? Is she going to use that?
Okay, so I've been in this marriage game now. Let me do the math here. It's 2020.
Hey, don't mess this up because she is listening.
And thank you for buying me some time so I can do the math. So in August, that's 16 years. Okay.
Cheers to that. 16 years,
listen,
folks.
I've been around the block here.
That's why we're together. He's a stable individual. I appreciate the stability.
I appreciate you calling me stable. I've heard a lot worse and a lot better.
16 years, folks, married.
16
Nowadays,
years.
That's amazing because he's not even that old. And he's still going. He's got a long time to go since this marriage.
Listen, there are ups and downs, but we've been through a lot. And what I can tell you is that if you find a woman that's willing to take those kind of photos and video to really blackmail you later, you have a keeper. You have a keeper.
Guys, I just want to point out how we were talking about steroids and boxing, and we have snowballed into marriage and nakedness.
Male nudity. Which makes me extremely uncomfortable. So that's a whole other topic, I guess. My athletic career was never a career, never really got off. It kind of stopped in whatever I did in high school, and that's cool.
It never got off.
Well, there we go. See, that's two of these. Once again, to our
how do you say this?
Hatozaki. So thank you.
Hatozaki.
I'm going to say thank you very much to them or whoever.
I got to thank Mr. Brian Price, a really good friend of mine. That's a birthday present from him.
Okay, so we're saying that Weighing In with Travis Hartman is sponsored by Brian Price and Price Boxing.
Oh, that's and we are going to have Mr. Price on the show as well.
We will.
So let's give you a prelude to that as well. He will be on the show later, so you'll get to put a face to who bought this for us, and you'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I think
so.
And
Price Boxing. Don't forget about Price Boxing.
Well, Price Boxing, it's kind of like Fight Club. It's you don't talk about it. It never happens. It's not on a schedule anywhere. It just is. It just is what it is. Now, I don't know.
First rule about Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. However, I have to talk about this part because there's somebody else that at some point we need to talk to or whoever. Did you see the photos from this past Saturdays?
I did not.
I think you did because you had our friend Angel Cortez holding up.
Oh my gosh, I did see that photo.
He had okay, so we're going off on a real random tangent here.
But this is about boxing a little bit, kind of.
It's
for Price Boxing.
But it's just about life, and
we can talk. We're weighing in on this topic.
So Angel's the man. He does a lot of stuff out there, but he has a trapping business, right? So he traps animals and lets them out into the wild. He doesn't trap
humans or people like that, though, guys.
Well, I can't really attest to that. However, if you have some sort of a wildlife issue at your house, whatever else, he's the man to call. So what he does, he traps them, lets them out in the wilderness. Cool. So he had trapped a possum, or somebody called him to come get this possum from their house before Price Boxing on Saturday. That's a hard worker right there. That joker had him still in his truck or in the back of his truck, pulls him out for the photos.
How did the girls not run?
Well, I don't even know who was there, but anyways, but still, it's so props to Brian Price, props to Price
Brian
Boxing.
Price, part of Price Boxing.
We'll do our best to make sure that's gone by the time we're done talking. I think we're talking about steroids. I know we talked about male nudity and being married, but not to other men. We talked about my spouse, who's a woman, and then the fact that
you had to point that out, that she's a woman.
Well, listen.
I feel like
I say I have a face for radio, but
there's anything wrong with that.
I have a face for radio, but this is a clean cut face too. So listen, I might have an audience draw. I don't know. I'm okay with that.
Ladies, I think the beard is working for him. I think the beard is working.
I just trimmed this. No,
Not me.
not you. Well, good. Yours is about a month grown.
I got the pre-beard.
All right, so back on track here. We're talking about
2 weeks.
Banned substances, possible steroid use, things like that. We've seen it carry over not only in just you see it in baseball from years ago, and obviously rigorous testing now. But now I hate seeing the little pieces of it in a sport like boxing, and especially a 2-time offender now. What do you think should be the end result of that? What should be the penalty handed down?
Lifetime ban. And I say that, lifetime ban. He's done. I mean, one time, you know what? I've never tested positive, but I also understand that I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. I believe in grace, and God died for our sins. We're all sinners. We all are. And some of us make mistakes. Gerald made a mistake. He made a huge mistake when he tested positive the first time. Second time is not an accident. That's a habit.
Yeah.
That's an habitual abuser. Period. So I think it's a lifetime ban.
Still forgive him, but there's an earthly consequence.
100%,
sure.
exactly. Okay. Forgiven, but you do not need to be participating in a sport that you have disrespected that badly multiple times. This isn't, like I said, this isn't a one-time offense. I think 2 times. I mean, strike 1, we'll give you a chance for strike 2. Then strike 2, you're out. This isn't baseball. You don't get 3 strikes.
You just get 2.
It's 2 strikes.
Okay.
And you're out. And I say this too. And the funny thing is, ESPN Ringside just reported this. That Bob Arum said. Gerald Big Baby Miller will never fight for us again. He goes, he will never fight on a top rank card. He goes, I'm not fulfilling the rest of my contract with him. He will never be on a top rank card ever again. And this is one of the biggest promoters in boxing right now. There's only about 2 or 3 really big promoters, and Bob Arum is one of them. Golden Boy is another. So if he can't fight for Bob Arum, there's other promoters they're vultures.
Well, let me draw on your experience a little bit. How many years have you said?
16 as a professional.
Okay, 16 as a professional, but 14 as an amateur as well. So your whole life, really, most of your life.
30 years.
Have you, anyone that's been in somewhat of your circle or whoever else ever done this sort of thing or ever get busted for this?
You know what? I can honestly say no.
Okay.
Nobody that I've ever been around consistently. I'll tell you this, I've never seen steroids in a boxing gym that I've been around in front of me, a professional fighter, because I feel like most fighters and most people nowadays, they kind of know me. I have integrity, and I believe my integrity goes through. So I don't think that even if they were doing it, they wouldn't do it in front of me because they know better.
So the reason I ask is it's not to call anybody out. It's not to say this should be the penalty handed down. But then, okay, let's go to the next step. What do you do then? If you're a fellow fighter, maybe it's one of your brothers that fought, and then all of a sudden they get busted for this. What do you do with them? What do you do? How do you come around that, support that guy? How do you properly lift him back up? You don't want to. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's as a person, I feel like just kind of shunning somebody. And I get like Bob Arum, he has to say stuff like that. I get that, but
you doesn't have to. But
but you can't. He's still a person to cast somebody out like that, take the fighter side away from it. He's doing those things for a reason, to be busted twice. What do you do as a fighter in the community? How do you come around somebody like that? That's somebody that has gone through the same fire that you've had to go through too. So it's not just some like random person.
Yeah.
What can you do what can the fighter community do, or the people in his camp or whoever else to come around him to support him and bring him back?
You know what? I mean, that's actually a very, very good question, because I advocate for this as a longtime boxer, is that out of all sports, baseball has a commissioner. NFL, they have a commissioner. Basketball, they have a commissioner. And what I mean by that is he's the boss. And it trickles down from there. There's rules, there's regulations, there's all this stuff. They have players' unions. They have all this stuff, right? Boxing doesn't have that.
Right.
We're a massive sport. We're a big sport. We have the highest paid athlete in almost all sports. Canelo Alvarez was. Floyd Mayweather was. So the fact that boxing does not have like a fighters' union or some kind of like ultimate boss to appeal to, I think is a problem, because you're right. There's a lot more to Gerald Big Baby Miller, why he's doing this. It's mental for sure. That's got to be a mental insecurity that he has. He's that insecure in his ability, or the people around him are making him insecure. I don't know what it is, but you're right. This is where I think he deserves a lifetime ban. I'm not backing off on that. I do. But that doesn't mean that he deserves to be just thrown away.
Correct.
You know what I mean? He needs help.
Correct.
What I would like to see done would be, if we had a fighters union, bring him in, give him mental health tests, get him better, and then maybe he can be an advocate. Maybe he can work for the fighters union and help other people who are going through the same stuff. But I think that he ruined his ability to compete and to be taken seriously. Because after the test,
Sure.
the positive test that he did the first time, I watched a video of him. He seemed very genuine and apologetic, and wasn't denying it anymore, because it was like he did like 6 or 7 different ones. It wasn't like Canelo Alvarez, the biggest name in boxing right now. He tested positive when he was getting ready to fight Triple G.
That's right. Yep.
So, but if you look into it deep enough, I know there's so many conspiracy theories out there, so much stuff out there, but Canelo tested positive, but it was trace amounts. Canelo claimed that he ate some meat in Mexico that was laced with steroids.
Last I checked, you're not supposed to drink the water in Mexico.
You're not supposed to eat the meat either, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, so,
I do kind of believe him.
Okay, so Mexican meat's bad.
Well, Mexican meat is they inject their meat with steroids. They make it grow big and fat, and not fat and muscular. So, but listen, I'm gonna say this. When we go, my fiance, she's a professional tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
She plays a tournament, Acapulco, Mexico.
Okay.
Every time the players go down there, they get an email that says,
"Don't eat the meat.
Beware of the meat that you eat here, because it will trigger a positive test." And the reason why I believe that Canelo's was because he ingested the steroids, because of the amount of steroids that were in his system. Like I said, it was called trace amounts.
Right.
And if you listen to any expert when they talk about steroids, if it's a trace amount, and that's the reason why Canelo ended up getting like 6 months suspension, because they believed him. They said, you know what, that's right, but you were still careless. You should have been better. You're at this level of boxing. What are you doing eating from a random vendor on the streets?
All right, so
and his family's they're meat butchers, and that's like their expertise. So it does seem a little
not
fishy.
going to help the family business any. So I'll put on the devil's advocate hat again. So let's take the Canelo situation as the example here. What if he came out and it wasn't a trace amount? What would that do for the sport at that point? Because the sport, honestly, you know, as me, just kind of a casual novice sort of person, obviously I know you and others and I'll watch, but I'm not as entrenched in that world as you are. But I was starting to get interested a bit more, and all of a sudden that hits.
Yeah.
What if it hit and like all of a sudden, crap, that stuff's just all in his system? What would that have done?
You know what? I believe that people are very forgiving. I do.
Okay.
At first, they're not.
Okay, but yes and yes. Okay, so I get that part, but let's say all of a sudden it wasn't trace amounts, and then all of a sudden you have, you know, people like me who are the casual fan that are watching.
That's who pays our bills at the end of the day, guys. If fight fans will watch anything, it's the casual fan that we're trying to bring in. That's the ultimate big money.
I mean, this is the conspiracy theorist hat. Do you think there's somebody in the background saying, we can't have that? We can't have that. We're going to go to trace amounts.
There is, but it's VADA, which is the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. They have nothing to do with any boxing organization. They're their own organization. The VADA is run by, I believe it is a former boxing commissioner, maybe. I think Margaret Goodman. I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look that up. But it's run by its own organization. VADA is a very world-renowned organization, which they're supposed to be very neutrally biased.
Hey, Travis, we're living in a world with aliens now.
It's not a conspiracy when it's true, Brandon.
I'm just saying, who runs that organization?
So
who are some shell company out of Bermuda?
But think about this, VADA. To them, it's going to be good. It's going to be good or bad. If they get a major superstar that tests positive, that looks good on them, because look like, hey, we're doing our job as VADA.
Sure.
So I don't think that.
I just wonder who pays their bills.
Boxing, whoever, so the WBC, they have to, the people that Canelo's paying them. Canelo's literally paying them.
So let me keep going. I'm going to keep
essentially.
I'm going to keep pulling the thread here.
Give it to me.
Why?
Why what?
Why have that organization? Why set it up? Why pay into it?
I mean, don't you want level testing, Phil?
Sure.
VADA, there's VADA and USADA, I believe, are the two major
organizations in the world. That's UFC uses them, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's similar. I mean, they're not tied to Canelo though. They're not tied to this man. They're not they're employed.
I'm just wondering, but ultimately they want there to be some sort of an accuracy level. They want it to be a clean sport, but also they need these guys to get paid in order for their organization to run. So isn't there some sort of an added benefit of, let's say, take the Canelo case from years ago, saying, wow, let's go with tainted meat. Let's go with that.
I would say that that's true, but Canelo fights once or twice
a
year.
Me. Yeah.
VADA's not making that much money off of him.
What? Well, I mean, percentage of his purse versus a guy.
Well, they do it's a set fee, but
okay.
They're not making They're not get a percentage of what he makes. Not
Gotcha.
even close. It's a set fee. They charge him the same they charge.
So they're gonna make the same amount off of you.
Yes.
On your fights.
Yes.
Which last I checked, I thought. Are you? So you're not. You're still official.
It's not been official yet.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't fought since last August.
Okay, but you're in
But I
good
haven't
shape.
officially retired. I'm actually, I mean, not physically the best.
Other one. Oh, well, we got that. Okay, we got two different camera angles.
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
this.
Oh yeah, over there you can't see.
Listen, our podcast is really growing by leaps and bounds. We now have 2 camera angles.
2.
And we actually set up our 2 ring lights today.
Dose.
As you can see, we have Travis in the background. That's a nice piece of artwork.
That's from me when I fought in France, and this was actually from a friend from the small. I'm from Osborne, Missouri, population 400.
Shout out time.
That up.
Shout out time.
Osborne, Missouri. One of my good friends from Osborne, Missouri, she painted that, and what it was, I do a charity event every year. It's for children's cancer, and we did a silent auction, and she painted that and donated it, and we auctioned it off. And I was just like, I really appreciate you painting this. I was like, but if you think that anybody else is gonna buy that, you're crazy, because I'm buying that. But people were so
Travis, if I would have known,
nice.
if I would have been in Missouri knowing that, I would have won it and just given it to you.
I was kind of hoping that would happen.
Frankly, because I don't need to hang your half naked body in my house. Frankly, I already saw something that's gonna haunt my nightmares and dreams forever.
Traumatized.
Traumatized.
He saw a still clip of the dancing video. But anyway, so this ended up going to silent auction, and I outbid the highest bidder because I was not going to let this go. So all the money went to the charity, which is a good thing. So I didn't mind paying for it, but I was like, I also put the charity event on and donated all the money that we made, and I donated more money.
I know you've been doing that. How many years?
This would have been my 3rd year this year, actually.
Yeah. So
it's the Rose Lowenstein Cancer Foundation for Children's Cancer. You guys definitely go check them out. They're a not-for-profit. They're amazing people, and I literally genuinely love them. I don't just work with anybody, and Brandon knows this by now with me too. Like, I surround myself with people with integrity and good people. And these are good people, and that's the only reason that I teamed up with them to do this charity event, because I know a lot of charities, and there's a lot of charities that they're pretty sketchy, and they're not. We donated 100% of our profits right back to them, and then what they do is they immediately give a grant to a family in need who battling child cancer.
Yeah. So Travis's circle, I'm pretty much about as low character as you're going to get in his circle. So what he speaks is truth. That's a very good organization. I followed you guys as you posted stuff for the past few years on different social media outlets and that sort of thing. So I think whenever we, determine what outlets we're going to post these things on, we'll give them props there.
Absolutely.
We'll at least put that in some sort of a comment section, whatever else. So
we called the event "Fight for the Fearless." So
that's
we
great.
Fight for the Fearless 1 and Fight for the Fearless 2, and this year obviously is going to be the 3rd one, but it's not off the charts because we do it in September.
I was going to say, so we've talked about this a little bit.
This will be the 3rd year.
So I don't want to make anything public.
Okay.
But I know you've batted around some ideas there. What are your thoughts right now with how it looks?
And I've actually talked with him about it. So I usually do the event back in my hometown, which is Osborne, Missouri. I live in Florida now, so traveling there right now during COVID makes it really difficult. So we haven't fully canceled the event yet, but I'm actually thinking about and weighing the option of doing it right here in Orlando, Florida. Because, even though COVID happened, this is the thing, it's children's cancer just didn't go away. It didn't take a break. So I'm like, why should we take a break? If I can still somehow muster it up and get enough people to come to that, I'm still going to do it. And I genuinely want to do that because they're a good foundation.
And you know what? I think even locally, it would be such a good event because people are starved for something like that. Now, obviously, I know everyone's a little skittish with what's going on out there. Especially in Florida, we've seen this, those case numbers spike up and whatever else. Yep. We could talk all podcasts long about that.
Conspiracy theories.
Well, there are plenty of them.
Let's not weigh in on that one.
Are you sure?
Maybe not.
We weighed in a little bit on the first one, on the prior one.
I feel like we could.
We could. Okay, so
give it to him straight, Brandon. What's the current? Did you check what the current?
I haven't checked what the current numbers are because I'm a Florida man. We just don't care. We don't look at it.
Obviously, and that's probably why people would say we have a huge number because we don't care.
Yeah, but
wait, let me
ask me about the hospitalization rate and also the death rate in Florida as well. Is that going to climb? Sure, because our number of cases are going to rise, but is it going to rise at the same amount that the cases have? No. Here's what also sucks about Florida. Not every state does this, but from what I've been told from other nurses that work in Florida, is that when you test for COVID positive, and if you have to keep testing daily for it to show negative before you can go about your normal daily activity or be discharged, it adds into that number every day.
Well, that's interesting. Definitely
So, so
that's me getting more alcohol, by the way.
So CDC, you can come at me if you want, but I wear my mask for reasons like pediatric cancer. I don't care. I'll be in Publix wearing a nice mask. You know what? Was it hard to breathe going to shop for groceries? Yeah. Did I look cool? Yeah. So
guys, that's all he cares about. Let's be honest. He wants.
I said I have a face for radio.
Wait a minute.
So that cover.
You're covering the beard, bro. I don't think you look good. If you covered the beard, I don't think you looked good.
A lot of people are nervous about the beard with me. When it gets a little long.
Why is that, Brandon?
Well, that's racial stereotypes, which I'm against.
Very, very much so. I am as well.
Yeah.
I stand with you in that firmly.
Mexican lives matter. Are we going to go down that road yet?
I mean, you know what? No, I do. I want to go down the road of,
okay,
because we're athletes. So I'll say this. Let's talk about how a lot of different sports now have become political. I want to talk about that. I do, because I say
a lot of different sports.
A lot.
How about like all of them? Now, there's only one that we've talked about that hasn't, which is surprising.
Which is what?
Baseball.
But wait, I thought about it again too, and I was just talking to somebody yesterday. Boxing.
Oh, true. I guess so. But there's not enough events for it to become political.
You know why it could be political? Because boxers were doing this for a while. They were writing slogans and slogos on their backs, and they haven't done that.
Hold on. Let's do that again.
What did I say?
Okay, so this is the fun part. This is why we like doing this with whiskey, because if you tune into our podcast, you can usually fast forward to about halfway in. Okay,
that's when it gets good.
That's when it gets really good. Wait for our opener. The meat of the content's the first 20 minutes. Who cares about that? You want to see us slur our words.
I really don't appreciate how you said meat and you emphasized it, but go ahead.
I'm sorry. We've already talked about Mexican meat. We've already talked about tainted Mexican meat today.
Offended.
So
you're about to get canceled.
Really?
Cancel culture.
We're only two. That is the thing, isn't it? We're only 2 episodes in, and you're already canceling me.
All right, let's renew the subscription.
Okay, so let's go back.
Auto renew.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about politics.
Politics and sports.
So where I was going with that is,
okay,
this is where I do understand that some of these athletes, they have a platform because of their sport.
Sure.
And there's an old video of me back home where I'm from. They did a interview with me and they followed me training for my fight, the night of the fight, and all of that stuff. And I just remember still to this day, I remember hearing my dad in the background and saying, "Travis, you have a platform here." He's like, "Use it. Use it for a good way, blah, blah, blah," stuff like that. And he always told me that you have a platform. And
sure.
As an athlete, as a professional athlete, you're on TV. You do have a platform. I understand that. But now, as a fan, I get to watch a lot of other sports as well for a while now. When I turn on the NFL, I turn it on to get away from everyday life. I genuinely, and that's what I like to watch it for exactly what it is. I like that sport. It's very refreshing. And whatever side of the aisle you are on when it comes to politics, so be it. Mm-hmm. I don't mind. I just don't want to see it when I'm watching the NFL. And listen, there's going to be so many people that are going to be giving me so much crap for this because of what I just said. But honestly, that's my only call. If they were doing things that sided with how I felt, which you don't know that they're not, but I just don't want to see it, guys. And this is what I say. How about we do this? How about we let the fans tune in and watch the sport that we love, and then in the press conference afterwards, say what you want. Take your political stance. Do whatever you want. Do it even before in interviews. But just when I watch football or baseball or boxing or tennis, I genuinely, and this is genuine, I'm being genuine, I genuinely tune in for the sport. And I know that they're people too. I'm a professional athlete myself. I know that I have opinions outside of my sport. Like I always tell everybody, boxing is my life, but my life is not boxing. So I get it, boxing is my life, but it's not all that is a part of me. I do have other beliefs and stuff too, but I compete in boxing because it's a pure sport, and I love to compete. But will I say something maybe in a post-fight interview? Yeah, that's fine. But while people are tuning into me fighting, I don't want them to have to worry about all of the stresses in the world.
No, they want to watch you fight.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear your opinion at that point or see your opinion at that point. So I think That's why our name, this whole name of the podcast of sparring, it doesn't work because I tend to agree with you a lot. So with that being said, you're right. I think take the NFL as an example, which is such a hot topic of all this because now I guess there's two anthems we have to hear, and the whole kneeling debate, whatever else.
I don't know if they've said for sure.
Well,
they're debating it.
Okay, so when you talk about that, I think you're absolutely correct. You have a platform as an athlete, utilize it appropriately, but that's not to say you're supposed to take away from the other elements in order to elevate your own platform. Yep. Your platform is there when a mic's in your face or however else you want to do it. I don't care if you put something on the back of your jersey, cue the NBA. That's your call. Do what you need to do. And you disagree with that. I really don't. I don't care because frankly I'm not watching it. But secondly, you know what? I can't see. I'm old, man. I can't see. I can't see the name on the back of the jersey.
Look at this man. He's not that old.
When Kyle Korver has the BLM slogan on the back of his jersey, I can't see it until they zoom in on it. Not to say I'm going to be watching anyways, but either way. So like NFL players kneeling, here's why I have an issue with it. It's not because of what you're kneeling about. Get that through everyone's heads. It's not about that.
Yep.
Most of us, we agree with you. We understand there's atrocities in this world.
Police brutality is a big deal.
It's not fake. That exists. Probably it's obviously it's not every police officer. It's a very small percentage, but that doesn't take away from it. It's still awful, and something needs to be done with those individuals. Because there's plenty of cops. There's plenty of people in the military, whatever else, that are awesome and do the right things. So I don't want to. You can't put everyone in the same bucket, right? So
I call it brushing them with a broad stroke.
It's a broad stroke. We do that right now in our country. We do that with all sorts of topics. Yep. So I think if you have this platform, you need to pick and choose when you utilize it. Because I think some guys jumped on a bandwagon in the NFL, like maybe the same season as Colin Kaepernick was doing that. Like 2 or 3 guys started doing it, and then it kind of like grew to a larger degree. And then I feel like the message, your message, it started to fall on deaf ears because you were taking away from the message because it was happening in the wrong time period. It was happening during the anthem. It was happening in the wrong time period. If you want to take a knee, that is your own prerogative. But you know what? Do it without having to have forcing the camera on you.
Yeah, and here's the deal too. And at the end of the day, all of these sports are a business. Okay. And these owners are running a business.
Yes.
So what I've always thought about, and listen, here's the deal: if Colin Kaepernick wants to kneel, this is right. If he wants to kneel, he can kneel, right? But it's also my right to not like it. I don't have to like it. Guess what? I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to pay to watch it anymore. If I don't like something that they're doing, I don't have to pay for it. And you should have to respect that as well.
But let's also get something straight. It's also the owner's right to not be happy about that. He doesn't own the man. He doesn't own the player. He owns the contract.
Just like any other employee for any other place. Walmart, Publix, Costco.
Yeah.
You have to do what your boss says.
Listen, my boss...
within regards of the laws, obviously. But
listen, my boss, who is me...
nice.
Yeah. If I didn't like the fact that I wasn't wearing a mask or whatever into my building, then I would tell me, as the employee, for myself, not to or to do it. I just got confused there. Either way.
I got dizzy.
All right, so let's go back to Colin Kaepernick. Because let's talk. No, I want to talk about him.
Hot topic. Okay, hot topic. It's fine. Again, like I said, whether you believe in what he's kneeling for, whatever. Police brutality. It's been a problem for a while, and
forever.
I think it's been a problem. Yes, and it is, and that's like I don't think there's not a secret about it, and I don't want to. You know what? I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, as you know. He's a Green Bay Packers fan. I don't even know how we're friends, if we're going to be honest.
That's why we need football season to happen. Because we need to talk about it.
I know, but I'm going to tell you right now that I'm just. You turn on your social media, you turn on your TV, and you see the news, and it's just constant political and divisive, and just all of this, just craziness. And again, like I said, Colin, stand for what you want to stand for, or kneel for what you want to kneel for. But here's the deal: I don't have to watch it, and I don't have to like it, and I know. Then that should be fine because you can still do it if you want.
So
I don't want to watch it.
So what he says then? So this is the devil's advocate hat. I don't agree with it, but here's the devil's advocate hat.
We don't need. And this is why I think you don't need to be in an echo chamber. And what I mean by that is,
sure,
I don't want you to always believe what I believe.
So
give me the opposing
if I'm Kaepernick, that's the most opportune time for me to do it because all the eyeballs are on me, and not just Colin, but other people too. all eyeballs are on me at that point because they want to see if I'm going to respond in a certain way, if I'm going to kneel, if I'm going to do this or that for the anthem, or during the anthem, I should say. So for him, he's doing it at what he feels is the most opportune time. Number one. Number two, he will never admit that. But number two, it's because it's during the anthem, which he feels and a bunch of people feel like is something that kind of wraps around and hides any sort of police brutality and things like that, which keep in mind, as me personally, I know that there's a very, 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 very small percentage of police that engage in that sort of thing. So I don't think it's the full police force and never have, which is why a lot of the stuff that we've seen recently is sickening to me. So from Colin Kaepernick's standpoint, he's doing it when he knows all the eyeballs are on him. Now, what we should talk about with Colin Kaepernick is forget all this stuff. Forget all this stuff about politics and all the stuff going on in society. His last season of football, he sucked. Why does no one talk about that?
Thank you. I wanted you led me into that. Thank you. I wanted to bring that up. That
good Lord.
Why is it this? This is a genuine question to everybody that's a Colin Kaepernick supporter or not a supporter. But I genuinely I want to ask you guys this question: is that we've already admitted that police brutality has been going on for a long time, correct?
Very bad, yes.
Before Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
Okay? It's been a problem. We've had it. I mean, what were the riots? Who was the Rodney King?
Rodney King.
Remember the Rodney King?
Absolutely.
That was in the 90s, right? Okay. Police brutality has been very bad. Okay? It has. It's a small percentage, but we only see the bad because they highlight the bad, and that's just the way it is. Now
we have a culture where everyone has a camera and a video on them with their phone.
So we're seeing it more because of that fact.
Yes,
maybe
but it's there.
Is it happening more? I don't know. It's getting filmed.
Correct.
For sure. But my point is this:
not to make light of it.
Zero. But my point is, why do you not see any athletes at the height of their career doing this? Colin didn't do this until he lost his. Let's back up. He lost his starting position. He was benched.
Yes.
Later on, not because he lost his starting position, not because he kneeled, because he didn't kneel.
Correct.
He lost his position fair and square.
Yeah.
He was not the better quarterback anymore. And the sad thing is to say Blaine Gabbert, I think it was Blaine Gabbert.
It was Blaine.
Was a better quarterback. Is mind-blowingly shocking still.
But at that point, coaches are just trying to try things out. Yeah. They want to see if something different will work. So in Kaepernick's standpoint,
stats were not good at that time.
No,
he was playing bad. He was.
And as a Packers fan, I know for a fact his stats were inflated because of us.
Oh,
because of us.
So I have more reason to dislike you right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Listen, we handed him everything, especially in the NFC Championship game many years ago. I remember because I was running a Disney Marathon the next morning. I stayed up to watch that game where he ripped my heart out. And then the following season or the season after that's when he starts kneeling and all this other stuff. So, no, what I remember...
He had a phenomenal season.
His final year, what I remember is when they played Miami in Miami, he went down and there was he was speaking like some pro-Castro stuff or whatever else down there, some garbage.
Yeah.
Kiko Alonso, who played for Miami at that point, had like a game-winning sack or just a tackle of Colin Kaepernick on a scramble close to the end zone line, saved the game, Miami wins, and it was a big deal because Kiko Alonso's family came from Cuba to escape that kind of radical idealism.
Regime.
Correct. So that was like a big deal. It was like a headline deal, but then it got buried. And all of a sudden, Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a starting job anymore. I'm sorry. He wasn't good that last year. So for him to come out in some sort of a workout, a year or so ago, he threw a couple passes, but then he comes to... No.
He changed the...
Oh, that's right. It was at like a random high school stadium.
So only like 2 or 3 scouts were there because...
It was a publicity event. Did I say that right? Publicity? Okay, it's been a few of these publicities. It was a publicity event. He threw a couple throws, which were kind of overthrown too, because you know what? He's an arm. He has a cannon.
He's very athletic. I mean,
he's very athletic.
He made it to the Super Bowl
because he ran through my Packers.
No, because your Packers are terrible.
We can't stop the run.
But listen, we're not taking away Kaepernick. He had a phenomenal season,
Absolutely.
And you know what? He banked off of that too because I think he signed a $100 million contract after that with the Niners.
Before Kaepernick was Kaepernick, Alex Smith was a starter, right?
Yep.
They came to Green Bay. They played us regular season. They pulled in Colin Kaepernick for a play, and he ran it. And he ran all over us. I think he scored a touchdown on that drive. So they saw what they had. And They saw what Green Bay didn't have. So when they played them later on, guess what happened? Super Bowl bound. And what happened then?
They lost.
49ers lost.
They lost.
They lost. So Colin Kaepernick, I'm sorry. His talent level, he's an athlete, but it's just not there anymore. And you can't tell me some guy that's been sitting on the sidelines for years is going to come back and deserve a starting role. Give me a frickin' break.
But that's where this whole.
Can I say frickin'?
You can say that.
Okay.
We can say whatever.
Okay. I tell my kids not to say frickin'.
You can swear, but we haven't, so we've been pretty good. But listen, here's the deal too. It's just I just turned 37 a week ago. I'm a 37-year-old professional athlete. You know what? The sport catches up to us at some point. We don't play it forever. And listen, Colin, that's the way it is. And being in the position of a quarterback in the NFL, it's a super fast reflexes, thinking game, super fast motion. Yeah. You don't play it for 2 years. Yeah, you're not going to be ready for that. And you're not.
Yeah.
But I want to say this because I remember when the whole Colin Kaepernick, he got the tryout again. Mm-hmm. And they rescheduled it like the last hour before the thing. He rescheduled I'm going here, come here, and they're like, no. I just remember Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. I remember him. He really did kind of have Colin Kaepernick's back a little bit through this all, which is fine. Again, you're allowed to believe and do what you believe. Sure. That's fine. But Stephen A. Smith came out and he said, Colin Kaepernick, he's like, you had an opportunity to come back into the NFL. And he goes, you blew it. You proved to me when you tried to pull those shenanigans at the end that you really didn't want to play. And genuinely, think about this, guys. I'm going to a job interview. I show up. I tell the person interviewing me, which is who I want a job from, hey, we're going to have the interview at my house instead. Mm-hmm. We're going to drink tea, and we're going to do this. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I'm going to have my own cameraman film the whole thing.
Yeah, and after 2 questions, it's done.
Yeah. Tell me who's going to hire you. Because we're forgetting that, again, I brought this up, the NFL, it's a business. It's a business.
It's not only NFL there.
It's not a sport. It's a business.
It's not only the NFL. It's not only the NFL there. Keep in mind, if I'm Colin Kaepernick, do I want to play for veteran minimum as a backup somewhere, or am I going to do all this promoting of activism, things like that, and all of a sudden Nike has me on contract, promotes me, that sort of thing. He did what he had to do as a business. It is a business overall. It goes beyond the activism that he's standing for. He knew what he was doing.
He's profiting.
And here's where we are. There you go, Nike. I think with that, since I've already, that comment pissed off a multi-billion-dollar corporation, global, I think it's a good time to end here.
Well, to be fair, I will say one thing in Kaepernick's defense.
Oh.
I have saw and witnessed that this man has donated a big portion of some of his money to some underprivileging kids and charities that he actually has. He put some of his money. He benefited a lot more money, obviously, but in his, I don't want to say defense, but to be fair, he's done a little bit. Done a little bit. See, and
that's the balanced point of view. That's why I like having Travis here. So the balanced point of view, Travis brought it. You've been listening.
I have to give. We weigh in on the truth as well.
Yeah.
We have to give that, whether it's the same opinion as ours or not. And like I said, from what I've read and some verifiable documents, he has donated a good portion of stuff. However, why are we fighting for a guy to be a backup quarterback? Because is he good enough to be a backup?
No.
I think he's good enough to be a backup.
Well, maybe. Okay,
but listen, but a backup. Why are we fighting and trying to do all this for a backup? And what people want with a backup, this is okay. I'll get political with you real quick.
I was trying to send this home, but we're not.
We got one more topic.
We're going on. We're going on. Keep going.
So I'm going to bring it up the fact that when a president finds a vice president, what do they look for? They look for somebody that's super quiet, that's super conservative, and what I mean by conservative, not conservative as in Republican, but conservative, he just lives a very balanced life.
They don't want the vice president to supersede them as the president.
They do not want them to overshadow.
Right, the personality, anything. They want them to be
zero drama.
The Robin to their Batman.
Exactly. You want a guy that's literally essentially he's your backup guy.
Yeah.
He's quiet. You when you need him, you reach out for him, and he's there. So That's my point. A team as a team organization. And
Sure.
I know this because I played team sports. I played basketball. It does matter team morale. So what I say about that is when you bring in a backup quarterback, you want somebody that is not going to be hyped up. That's not going to be, because if you're going to waste that kind of money and drama, you would do it on a starting quarterback. You would, because we have a lot of starting quarterbacks that there's drama for. There really is. But do you want that for your backup?
All right, so
He's not going to get to play that much,
So
if
I-
ever.
So I will end it on that with me then asking a question that we might draw, maybe we'll dive into next week.
Okay.
Cam Newton, New England Patriots, supposed to be the backup, right? Isn't he that? Isn't he that drama draw?
Is he the backup?
Well, I don't know yet. We'll find out. So we'll hold it there. All right, so this has been Weighing In with Travis Hartman. That's Travis Hartman.
That's Brandon Waters.
All right, we're figuring this out, right? So we appreciate you guys listening.
Cheers to listening to us, guys.
Absolutely. Here we go. Well, that wasn't much of a clang, but
Because mine's empty.
oh, well, mine isn't. So we thank you and hope you listen to us again next week. Travis Hartman. This has been Weighing In with Travis Hartman. Thanks again for listening to our ramblings, and for the latest and greatest ramblings, please subscribe below or give us a like. We appreciate it. Thanks.